Guys, so today I'm going to be going over my shot process. I really believe in the Joel Turner method. I'm trying to... Dan, stop. This is an arrow. No arrow.
He gonna shoot the Glock 20.
Top 10 radar, yeah, on your radar. Never miss, dog, and that's on occasion. Yeah, we on your radar.
And so as I was coming down, I was starting to look for my
Look, top floor, lifestyle, chef and boy, I'm cooking up. Way too high, ain't coming down, you see me if you looking up. I don't really talk too much, I show I'm running numbers up. Lucky that I'm showing up, I'm going off, they know what's up.
Check that out. This is my setup for when I'm hunting in grizzly country. And here's the truth. I've really not shot guns much. Kind of carry it as a bear spray device coupled with actual bear spray. And Damien is our guest. He's gonna teach us not only proper technique, but give us drills and skills, you guys as well, to be more prepared for hunting in grizzly country. Wyoming, Montana, Idaho. Would you call yourself an instructor?
Executive protection agent and part-time instructor.
/ bow hunter / cool dude. Got special guest Tyler Denham from the ElkShape Gear channel, and he carries a revolver. I know Tyler hasn't had any instruction. I haven't had any instruction, so it'll be nice. Looks like we all got 10s, but no one got an 11, so we suck. Oh, he's using tack veins, and so is Tyler. Guys, they like stiff veins. You'll have to let me know what you guys think about those veins. Okay, so whose arrow is this? Good job, Tyler. You got an 11. I got only one 11. So when you're doing the security, do you have time off to go elk hunting? That's all I really care about.
Yeah, as long as I plan ahead of time and we've got enough people. Actually, we're pretty short staffed now. Thank you. I'm the lead guy there, so I get to write the schedule. And but because you want to be a good leader, you also don't want to screw your team over and put them on all the crap, days and that sort of stuff. So
you're gonna teach us some dry fire stuff that you can do. We're not dry firing bows. We totally tricked you on the title, but we are gonna do some dry firing with these pistols. We're gonna look at grip, handle, all the stuff that you're gonna teach us technique wise, and then we're gonna actually go to a range, indoor range. We had plans to go to an outdoor range, Tyler's brother's house, but obviously the weather is just not cooperating, so we're gonna make do. We're gonna get a workout with this guy, and if we have enough time, we'll go outside and either shoot these things or these things at Spokane Valley Archery. I'm really excited to learn from you, to be honest.
So we have 4 different weapons handling safety rules. In some schools, they'll even teach 5. So the first one is you teach, that we tell everybody is treat every weapon as if it were loaded. The second one is never point your weapon at anything you do not intend to shoot. The next one is keep your finger straight off the trigger until you're ready to fire. And it's really important that anytime you pick up a gun that your finger is off the trigger. And what I recommend is your finger be sitting up high off of the trigger guard and up here on the frame if you can. The fourth rule is if you have a weapon with a safety, you want to keep your weapon on safe until you intend to fire. Those are really important rules that you need to live by 100%. There is there's no flexibility in that.
We've talked about safety first and foremost. Now it's time to kind of get into the basics of how to hold a gun.
We're going to start off with just very basic fundamentals for shooting in a non-stressful environment. As far as feet go, you basically want to just stand pretty comfortable with your feet about shoulder width apart. You can go a little bit wider than that. You don't want to go super wide and you don't want to go super narrow, right? As a right-handed shooter, you want to take your right hand, you take that web part of your hand, you slide up as high as you can on the grip. Doesn't matter if you're shooting a revolver or a semi-auto, you want to have your hand as high as possible. You have your fingers on the other side gripped, right around on the back side of the pistol grip here, and then your thumb, what I do is I create a little bit of space right here where my thumb is pointed at a 45-degree angle away from there. And then my left hand is going to come right in and then fill that void right there. So that way it's almost like this perfect spot for your left hand to sit into. So the more of your left hand that you can get on there into that area, then the better control you have of that gun. Now both of my thumbs are essentially pointing forward on the target. That's pretty much about it as far as the grip goes. So what we'll do is we'll have each of you guys do the same thing. I'll work on your grips, and then from there we'll move forward on grip pressures and that sort of stuff. Position one, hand on the chest rig, other one getting ready to snap whatever you need to do. Okay, go and snap it, and the hand on the gun. So that's one right there. Okay, so from here, Go to position 2, which is out of the holster. And now you tuck that elbow and both hands come together. It should be at about chest level. Chest level. Bring it up just a little bit higher. So from here, I'm going to position 3. So go ahead and present. It's going to go straight out. Pick up your front sight, rear sight, both. Now they're perfectly aligned, right? Holstering, we're going to go the exact opposite. So we're going to bring it right back to our chest, just like we were before, which is what position 2 is. And then when we go to 1, this is where it's really important that you don't want to flag your own hand as you're coming down and reholstering, okay? So if you can, you take your left hand off and then grab onto your chest rig. You know, look down to make sure that everything's clear. You have no articles of clothing, no straps, none of that stuff hanging in the way. Once it's clear, then you're going to orientate your weapon in the safe direction and then holster up, make sure that it's seated fairly well.
We're trying to create like perfect practice so that we can kind of do some of this subconsciously.
Yeah.
Right?
Correct. And go. Nice and smooth. There we go. Also back up. A little bit smoother, Dan. There's still a little bit of that hang when your hands come together, so try to work on that during the presentation. Just move, keep it moving all the way through.
Okay.
No pausing. Okay, and go. Nice, much better. Okay, so I'm gonna talk about the trigger cycle real quick and then what's happening as a shooter is pulling the trigger on the gun and that gun is cycling in your hand, right? So with the trigger at rest, sorry, my writing is freaking sloppy and I'm a horrible artist. So your trigger is going to start at the rest before you even touch it, right? Once you pull that trigger back and you feel the very first point of resistance, that's what we call the wall, right? And then sometimes what we call this as is either slack or take up, right? You guys know what I'm talking about, right? So it's that very first point of resistance you pull back as you pull that trigger back and you feel that first point of resistance or the wall, you're not going to get that gun to go off. It just stops there, right? And so once you get to the wall, the very first point of resistance, there's actually a little bit of space that trigger needs to continue to travel in order to finally break. So we'll call this the break. Okay, and then after the gun fires, the trigger, and you're not going to really feel this, but this space back here, and this is probably shorten this up a little bit. This space back here is what we call the over travel, or we'll just call it the very back of the trigger. Okay, so from the very beginning, trigger's at rest. This is when you are not applying any kind of pressure to that trigger. As you pull it back, all the slop, what we call that is the slack or the take up. You feel the very first point of resistance, that's what we call the wall. There's a little bit more of a space right here that the trigger needs to travel in order for it to finally break. And once the trigger finally breaks, it goes into what we call the over travel. There's a point where there's kind of like a fulcrum within that trigger. And this is what we call the peak of the wall. And we'll just say that that's about 70%. So let me draw a line all the way down here. So that's about 70% of that trigger. And this is going to come into play later when I start calling out percentages when you guys are prepping triggers. Right?
Oh.
So we got 70%, 80%, and then I'll just draw another line back here. Sorry, this is getting kind of ugly. But we got 90%, and then 100 is where the break is at. Does that make sense? Okay, so this part right here, this is where you start really learning and becoming a little more intimate with your trigger and understanding like where exactly does it break? Make sense? You guys are going through that trigger. Did you guys go through that whole process of 70, 80, 90, 100?
Yeah.
Okay, so when you guys do that, you'll start to realize that that's going to be much better for your accuracy, right?
And my first shot was my best shot. I got worse and worse.
Yeah, so I'll take a look at it, but yours is starting to group high left, which is, I guess, uncommon for right-handers, because usually if you're anticipating doing anything weird, you'll usually be down here or down here. So with it being high left, high right, that could be possibly your sights.
Yep.
You might have your front sights slightly to the right a little bit and high. So center back down and then do that again. So this is what I'm gonna do is we're gonna go back, we're gonna do the same thing, 5 rounds, 5 yards, but I want you to speed through that process from 70 to 90, hold it, and then roll through that 100. So what we're doing is we're expediting all of that trigger process that we were talking about. We're condensing it into a shorter time. So
do you want us to come back to the wall, right?
Yes, go to the wall.
Don't go past it.
No, go to the wall and then go to 90.
Okay.
And then smooth press. And then what we're setting you up for is when you go from here to here, you're going 70, 90.
Oh.
And the last 10% at full presentation, 100. Right? So that's how you start condensing the time frame that it takes for you to do all the pre-work before the shot actually breaks.
That makes sense. You gonna shoot the Glock?
Yeah.
Do it.
Do what? You want to do it now?
Yeah, he gonna shoot the Glock 20.
Owner came and told you can't shoot the revolver anymore.
Really?
Yeah.
Dead
Too
serious?
loud.
Are you joking?
Yes.
Okay.
Which one do you like shooting better, the revolver or the Glock?
The Glock's much more comfortable to shoot, but it's also it's a 10 mil over a 44.
Do you feel more American with the revolver?
Yes, definitely.
American.
Tyler,
Dang,
that's
son.
Tyler. That's Dan. That's the Revolver. Hot garbage. Hot garbage.
Look at how much bigger those holes are, though.
That's our instructor. That's 44 mag. Revolver. That's Tyler with the Glock. That's Dan with the SIG. I'll vote that, Tyler. I like over here. What do you think?
Yeah. Yes, that. I mean.
Every now and then, too, as you're pulling the trigger, you might be doing what's called healing. So as you're pulling the trigger, you're starting to kind of squeeze up, and you're healing the bottom of the grip up, and so that sends your your sight high left.
Okay.
So pay attention to what you're doing with your wrist as well.
You got it, Tyler.
You really got to trust that left hand.
That's your tightest group, dude, by far. That's your tightest group.
Oh.
Dang, son.
That's legit.
That's good shooting right there.
Job, buddy.
So, your turn, right?
Okay,
Instruction.
good job.
Yeah, so great job, man. So that was great. Obviously, your group that's fantastic. I mean, look, literally all your shots are touching, right? Right. This is what we call a ragged hole, and that's like always what we're trying to go for.
Not bad.
Well, that was it was in the 13. So what I heard, I did hear your trigger reset like really late.
Way late.
Way late. Yeah. So then that forced you to rush.
Yeah.
The most important part, which is getting the trigger to go off, right?
Yes. But I love that drill.
Yeah.
I love that. That's like the best drill yet, honestly, because it's like, it recoils, but you just like, you're back to your reset and you running through your trigger work to control it and know your speed. So friends, thanks for coming along. Hopefully you picked up some skills and drills, or if you already know everything, that's cool too. For me, I learned so much that I'm gonna spend a lot more time on the fundamentals. I'm excited about actually shooting my handgun, and I'm excited about actually bringing it. I feel like already a lot more confident with it. And it's just like archery, it's a shooting sport. So it's something that I can do with my wife, and it's something that has a lot of crossover into protecting my butt in the mountains, at home. Thank Damon for all his instruction. He's a really humble dude. He's got a crazy resume, and his instruction, top shelf. Smash that sub. We'll catch you on the next one.